Welcome back to Reading Bear. Today, we'll take a look at some new Am I the A-hole stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
First one posted by user Paperwhite. Titled, AITA for shutting myself away in my office and making my husband deal with our kids? God, I'm so frustrated, and to top it all off I keep being berated through the door about how much of an a-hole I am being right now. My husband isn't working at the moment, he had to leave his job due to issues with anxiety. I am the breadwinner for our family at the moment. We have a set of 2-year-old twins. I told my husband, if he wants to quit his job, that's fine, but I expect him to step up and start doing more around the house, as well as caring for our little ones whilst I'm working. He agreed. I thought that was that, but lo and behold, he keeps holing himself up in the bedroom and playing games, and leaving the majority of the childcare to me whilst I work, which is near impossible. Today I had a ridiculously important meeting, and have been warning him of it for the past week, saying I can't look after the kids when I'm in the meeting. He kept saying it's fine, it's fine. Well, today came around, and what do you know? He's in the middle of his league game and can't pause. This was minutes before meeting, so I had to think quick, and I put the girls in the bedroom with him, closed the door and ran to my office. The meeting went well, but now he won't stop berating me through the bloody door. I absolutely do not want to leave the office right now because I cannot be bothered to deal with him, but at the same time, I feel insanely guilty and I know I should have done something else instead of just putting them in the bedroom with him. I do feel like a bit of an a-hole. AITA for locking myself in the office, practically forcing my husband to care of the kids? Edit to add, husband is in therapy for his anxiety and does take medication, which definitely seems to be working. Comparing where he was a year ago and now, there is a positive difference. User comment, not the a-hole, though of course this should be dealt with on cool heads later on. If he's not working, he probably has enough time to play when the kids are asleep or something. He should let you be comfortable doing your job. Working from home requires discipline from the people around you, above all. User comment, not the a-hole at all. He's not working and he expects you to do the childcare while you are working. What the duck? I would be livid. And then berates you through the door about it? What a shitty example he's setting for your kids. He needs to grow up. He's not a teen living at home who can play video games all day. He's a grown man who made a choice to have kids. Life comes with responsibilities. Deal with it. I'm so tired of hearing stories about dads like this. It's so common, it's infuriating. User comment, not the a-hole. He promised to step up, hasn't, and on top of it isn't being supportive when you really needed him and prepped him to look after the kids. Serious talk needed. This is not on. Next one posted by user Puxwell 9218. Titled, AITA for pressing charges against my mum? I'm not sure if the title is the right way to word it, but hear me out. A 21 female found out 5 days ago that my mum, 50 female, lied to me about my tax refund last year and had the money direct deposited into her bank account. She and I are not on talking terms as she borrowed $200 from me in early January and refused to pay me back, even though this is the only time I've ever asked for it back. Since we are not talking, I had to attempt to file my taxes on my own. Now she's always done my family's, 28 female, 30 female, and I taxes, so when it was rejected because I couldn't remember my AGI for 2020, I had to request a transcript to figure it out. Although, I ended up finding out I had received quite a large refund and the account it was deposited in. Immediately, I called her to ask her what the hell? Why did you do this? She declined. I texted her several times, no response. I called my oldest sister, 30 female, to try and get in contact with her that I need to talk to her as soon as possible. Mum then blocks her, and blocks me across social media. That all happened last Friday, so coming to this last Monday, I called the IRS panicking and trying to figure out what I should do. Can I even do anything? Lady on the phone guides me to fill out some forms and contact the Federal Trade Commission with identity theft. Although I don't know if that's what this is, I fill out all sorts of stuff and to file a police report. I called oldest sister again, she says it's not going to go anywhere, waste of my time etc. And I'm just going to ruin my relationship with mum. My other sister is fully supportive and encourages me to do what I feel like I need to do. Coming to yesterday, I went to the police station and gave them copies of all of my paperwork, proof money went into her account, her info, etc. The detective called me and let me know they have everything they need and are going to arrest her, and suddenly I feel bad. Should I have just let it go? My refund was nearly $2,000 and I could have really used it as I had just been laid off due to COVID-19 at the time. My oldest sister is kind of at my throat and I don't know what to do. I've given her over $5,000 over the last 3 years and feel like she just used me even more than she already was. AITA. User comment, not the a-hole. What the hell? She stole your money. You tried to talk to her and figure it out, but she refused. It is then on her to deal with the consequences. Good that you reported her, and shame on your sister for enabling your mum's behavior. User comment, not the a-hole. You aren't ruining the relationship by filing the report. She ruined it by stealing your identity and $2,000 from you. User comment, I would say not the a-hole. Taxes aren't a joke and she knew what she was doing. If she didn't want to help out anymore or wanted payment for it, she could have said so. Next one posted by user, Happy Go Lucky Badger. Titled, AITA no proof, no product. So this happened about 5 minutes ago. One of my best customer, I have a frozen food store that's about 4 months old, gave me a call to ask me to prepare an order for him of 20 kilograms of ribs. His standard order, but requested that he pay via EFT instead of the usual cash payment. I agreed, having done plenty of EFT payments with other clients before, so I did the usual and sent him a payment request link so that all he had to do was enter his card details and the payment would reflect on my point of sale. However, his phone had issues with the payment and he wasn't able to complete it, so he asked for my business's bank details so he could do it manually. This is where the issue started. He says that he sent me the money, and as proof he took a screenshot of the payment completed screen on his phone and showed up to collect the ribs before I had a chance to explain that I need to either see the funds reflect in my account or receive a proper proof of payment from the bank before I can give him the stock. He wasn't very understanding about it. He told me to keep the ribs and refund him when I received his money, then left. Later his wife phoned me to say that they weren't happy that I accused them, a long-standing customer, of fraud and trying to steal from me, and that they would never give me any form of business again. Then his son, who owns a local restaurant that the ribs were being purchased for, called and said the same, plus his clientele would be very disappointed seeing as my ribs were very popular in his restaurant. I really feel that not releasing the stock to the customer without a reliable proof of purchase is completely reasonable and doesn't warrant the response I got. So am I the a-hole? User comment, not the a-hole. But doesn't mean people won't act like that. Sorry to hear it, friend. Time to find new better customers that understand. Maybe let me son know what the issue was and he can talk to his dad and straighten it out. You didn't accuse him, it's basic retail rules. Can't release product without payment or real proof of payment. User comment, not the a-hole, just stick politely but firmly to telling them it's nothing personal, but that as a matter of business you don't release goods to anyone until payments have cleared. I assume you don't take personal checks. I also assume they wouldn't be happy if a patron of their restaurant ran up a high bill then left saying, I'm sure the money is on its way. User comment, no a-holes here. Neither of you is being completely unreasonable. You want money in hand before you give out your product. Your longtime customer thinks you should be a little flexible with and thinks of this as a technical difficulty. I hope this doesn't cost you a customer. Next one posted by user, I_alone. Titled, AITA for telling my dad last that I'm not moving back to my hometown? I, 20 female, moved away for college 2 years ago. This is going to be my final year. My dad expected me to move back to my hometown once I was finished because that's what his family does. They stay local, close to family, and that's it. But I knew I would be different. He and I don't have the best relationship and I'm not at all close to his wife. So to me a fresh start will be a really positive thing, and it has been. I told my grandparents and my aunt and uncle a while ago. My grandparents kind of knew. They brought it up that I was so much happier since I left, and I am in a much better place. About a week ago my dad asked me about moving back and told me my siblings missed me. They were on the video call as was his wife, and that's when I broke it to him, because he was saying they had a planned trip in the summer and I could watch the kids for him. He was shocked, annoyed, and he hung up once he realized I was serious. Then he talked to my uncle and then my grandparents, and when he realized they knew, and my maternal family knew, he was super upset. He felt like he should have been the first person I told and that we needed to discuss it. I told him there was nothing to discuss. That as an adult I made a decision about where I'll live. He accused me of leaving my whole family behind, to which I replied I was near family, my mum's family. Things are still dicey and I'm okay with that. They have never been so good that this would be really hard for me, but my aunt thinks I should have told him first, and before he brought it up. My dad said the same thing. So now I'm wondering if I did handle this badly. I think it was easier to tell everyone else first because I have more contact with them. I really don't talk to my dad all that much. AITA. User comment, not the a-hole, you're an adult coming home from college, not a middle schooler coming home from summer camp. Do what you want, seems like he just wanted free babysitting. User comment, not the a-hole. You had a suspicion he would react in a certain way and all he did was prove you right when you eventually told him. Plenty of people live far away from the family but still have great relationships and connections. Do what is best for you and your future. User comment, not the a-hole. You get to make your own decisions about your life. I think telling your dad before he asked you might have been easier for him to deal with, but I can understand why you were reluctant to have that conversation. You were worried about how he'd take it, and now you've told him, he's shown you were right to be. Next one posted by user HailBear. Titled, AITA for wanting my boyfriend to handle dinner when his daughter is over, meaning he spends more than me when we do takeout. So this is pretty straightforward. I recently moved in with my female 27 boyfriend, male 32, who has a 9-year-old daughter. I love his daughter, and she loves me. We get along great and she is very excited to have me around as she begged him to see me more often all the time. There's just one issue. We are all a bunch of picky eaters to varying degrees. We are still working on chore distribution, so we have been random on cooking, though I've been doing about 70% of it. But keep running into the issue of his daughter not wanting to eat what I cook, or liking it but saying it's too spicy. It isn't, but I tend to use more Hispanic seasonings which give it a kick that she doesn't like. I've tried altering what I cook, but it's definitely still a struggle and I sometimes end up cooking 2 different meals and it stresses me out trying to figure out what she will eat. Today he was talking about me changing a few more things about dinner and not using the spices I use when she is around, etc. I said okay, but I asked him, can we make a deal? He asked what I meant and I told him that maybe we can alternate weeks where we handle dinner. He handles dinner when 9 years old is here, he has 50-50 custody and she lives with us every other week, and I can handle dinner when it's just the 2 of us. I specified that handling dinner could mean cooking, or buying takeout. At first he said okay. But I guess he thought about it, and changed his mind. He said that it wasn't fair because if he decided he wanted to do takeout sometimes, he would be paying for dinner for 3 people, while if I wanted to do takeout I would be paying for 2. And this wasn't fair because eating out can get expensive with 3 people. And honestly I was just like, okay, so? You're complaining because you have to pay for your daughter? I love her and food expenses are one thing I genuinely don't care about. It's human necessity. We have a 60-40th split on groceries because I make more than him. And I even help with her daycare. So I don't see the issue. He got upset and has been grumpy at my response and went to bed acting salty. So now I am wondering if I'm the a-hole. He can be very frugal with household expenses. But I also think if he doesn't mind spending on newest consoles and games, I don't think he should complain about paying for food for his own daughter. Edit, I want to add this because it's been mentioned it would change people's judgment and without it my boyfriend looks bad. The house was inherited by him and it is completely paid off. I do not pay rent because, well, it's paid off. He asked me to move in. No rent was requested from me. But since I was saving on rent, I am paying for part of daycare and more of the groceries portion because I wanted him to save some money as well so we could both work on paying down debt before settling down. Edit 2, I don't think my boyfriend's daughter is being whiny about the food. She is just a kid. I've tried making foods with less spices because I know it tastes different for her. And that helps sometimes. But it's the all of us being picky eaters that's the bigger issue. I have been Googling recipes and learning more American foods and doing that. But most of my cooking knowledge is Hispanic foods, so that's part of why I wanted him to handle food when she is here, since he knows what to get her to eat, while I'm still struggling, learning her taste, and end up making backup meals when she doesn't like what I make originally. User comment, not the a-hole. Yes, his responsibility is much bigger as he created the third person he is complaining about feeding. You just moved in together, you're not married, and you're helping him with daycare. There is nothing unfair about your suggestion for meals. User comment, not the a-hole. Your boyfriend is a self-centered a-hole. If takeout is too expensive, then he can cook more instead. Stand your ground, op, you cook, get takeout 1 week, and he provides dinner however 1 week. User comment, not the a-hole. So you already pay more for your food expenses and now he is complaining that he would have to pay for his daughter's takeout? This is a red flag. Next one posted by user, Tinnyfear. Titled, AITA for warming up my car? This is not that big of a deal, but it's been bugging me. We recently moved to a new neighborhood, and while we have a small garage in the back of the house, it's much easier to park on the street in front of the house. A few days ago I had an early morning doctor appointment, got in the car and turned it on to warm it up before driving. No snow where we live, but it was in the low 40s and I wanted to make sure the defroster and heater were working before driving. Anyway, this older woman drove up next to me, motioned for me to roll down my window, and told me that my exhaust was running and polluting the street. She said the newer cars only need 30 seconds to heat up, and also asked me if I lived on the street, which seemed a bit weird. I was a bit shocked but responded that I had an indicator on my dashboard that let me know when my car was warmed up, and that I would be waiting until then to leave. She made a snide remark under her breath and zoomed off up the street. So AITA for taking too long to warm up my car and leaving exhaust on the street in front of neighbors' houses, or is she just a nosy busybody? I always thought waiting until the blue light indicator went off was the standard, but maybe I'm wrong. I now see her car all the time parked on the other side of the street and want to know if I should give her dirty looks or cover my head in shame. User comment, not the a-hole. Modern cars and oil don't need the engine itself warmed up for long, but the defroster and heater will take longer. It's not safe to drive with windows obscured by ice or condensation. User comment, not the a-hole. She's right that you don't have to wait for your car to warm up before driving, but that's not why you were waiting. You wanted to defrost your windows and warm up the inside. So her comment is irrelevant. The emissions from your car are not enough for her to notice any change in your street. No one is going to be poisoned. So unless your car has black smoke rolling out, which should concern you anyway, then just wave her off as crazy. User comment, you're the a-hole, depending on where you live. Where I live, idling for longer than 3 minutes is illegal. People still do it, but she wasn't wrong to complain. She is also correct that idling, especially in cold weather, contributes to air pollution. Last one posted by user, no_tip_8591. Titled, AITA for arguing with my mum about wanting the cashier to apologize. So, I'm 15 male, and not long ago my mother and I went into a KFC drive-thru, and when she was ordering our food my mum said over the machine for a solo drink, and the cashier was confused and said she did not have any and they did not sell them at KFC. Then my mum was confused and said something like, that isn't right, I've came here many times and you have always had them. So then she drove through to the cashier post, and when she paid for the items, she went, I was asking for a solo. And then cashier said, oh, I thought you meant something else, forgot what she said. Then my mum said, you should have at least apologized, learn customer service and say sorry. And she just looked confused, and then I just told my mum to hurry up and leave, as she did. She and I had an argument for the whole day about, I kept telling her she shouldn't do crap like that, mistakes happen, we all misunderstand. But she kept saying she should learn customer service and learn to apologize, it's manners. She also done this before many times, and asked for the manager so they could fix the problem. And yeah, had a really heat argument about it. I don't know if what she did is right, I mean, is it? Because I can see her point. I guess, maybe the cashier should have apologized, but then again both parties misunderstood. But with my mum being the customer, was she in the right and was I wrong to argue with her on this? User comment, not the a-hole. You seem like a reasonable and pleasant person who retail staff appreciate dealing with. Your mother does not. User comment, not the a-hole. If I were in that situation as a cashier I would apologize, but I'm Canadian and it's a knee-jerk reaction to say sorry even if it's someone else's mistake. User comment, not the a-hole. Everyone makes mistakes, and it can be hard to understand what people are saying through drive-through speakers, sometimes saying this as someone who has been on the other side of it before. It wasn't a big deal, and your mum actively decided to try to make a fast food worker feel like they've done something wrong. Thanks for calling her out on it, you did the right thing. Thanks for listening.